Running for a second term, but it doesn't seem to be too popular anymore. Just kidding. Welcome, Jeff. It's all yours.
All right, so I'm the president-elect. I'll be president next year, and I was asked to speak about the president-elect training session. So it's going to be riveting, and I actually apologized to my guest Annie. I didn't realize that I was inviting her to listen to me speak about this, and so I swear the speakers are usually interesting, so apologize to the students as well. All right, so every president has to go to the president-elect training session. This year, let's see. So it was held at the Valley Forge Casino Resort, which is, I've not been to. It's not good for me that it's at a casino, to be honest. It was quite lovely. I did find, though, that when you're there to wake up early to go to a Rotary session on a Friday night, that the other hotel guests nearby aren't on the same agenda. So I didn't sleep well Friday night. People were having a good time. So, all right, so first we have various lessons that I learned I want to walk you through. Spanish 21. This is what you play if you want to lose your money slowly. As you can see, $30 in about 2 hours. I feel like that's a good bargain. That's the one you want to play. Craps. This is you want to avoid. 30 minutes, $210. Lost. I want to assure you, lost. So, all right. So this is our theme for next year. Create hope in the world. That's what we're going to do. This is our next president for Rotary International. His name is Gordon R. McAnally. And he spoke and he was very compelling. He has a lot of good humor, very interesting. The Rotary made sure to have a bagpipe brigade play for him as his introduction. It occurred to me that I don't know that all Scottish people actually like bagpipes, but I don't know, maybe he did. He seemed very polite about it. So these are the facts that I know about President-elect McAnally. He's Scottish, and he's also a dentist, and that's all I know. All right, so my main takeaways from the PET seminar is that compared to clubs in North America specifically, we're actually a pretty strong club. We're doing very well. Attrition rate is very low. We're actually, so under Rotary's calculation, attrition rate of 8 to 10% is considered the best. You're best in class, and we're right in that. We're at 8.8%. Some losses are inevitable, which we're offsetting by continual growth. And quite frankly, a lot of one thing that I think I learned when I went to Rotary is that people actually were interested in hearing about our club, which was sort of surprising. And there were a number of president-elects from various districts. There was 4 districts there. And I actually got approached to speak in some sort of survey about how we're actually growing, essentially, which is not something that clubs in North America are doing, unfortunately. I think there's a lot of growth in Asia specifically, and other areas of the world, but North America, the clubs are sort of losing ground rather than gaining ground. So, like I said, we're continuing to grow. We're one of the few clubs that are growing. The net growth is not big; it's only 1.8% a year. but we're not losing members, and a lot of clubs are losing members, so we're doing something right. We have, and I think one of the challenges of coming in is to figure out what we're doing right, make sure we keep doing that, and then figure out how to just increase that and keep it going. So the members are young, and that's a positive too. A lot of members. I don't consider myself a young man, but I think by Rotary standards, I kind of am. But we also have members in the 20s and 30s, so that's pretty unusual for the club. So I think we're doing really well there too. I noticed Glenn should be making his introductions longer, because this is not going to take another 45 minutes. I can assure you all. We could start with the questions anytime. Raise your hand and let's just start. Nancy, yes.
Back on the other slide, at the bottom, you said you
Yep.
have been approached to participate in a survey of clubs.
Yeah, so Herb Klotz, I believe his name is, and he was speaking about the growth of clubs, and a lot of clubs are not growing in North America, like I said, and particularly in the districts that we're in. So he mentioned that we were a club that he would like to actually talk to and get information about how we seem to be holding strong and maybe having at least modest growth rather than losses. So, and quite frankly, a lot of other presidents were pretty interested in learning about our club because of the fact that we've been able to grow. I don't know how much of that is able to be replicated, but I've shared what I know and pretty much asked them to talk to Kevin Engel. But and so there we are. Yes.
Well, it's simple, the growth.
Share.
Monday night meetings are held at a bar.
That's exactly right. Now, I will say the part that makes it difficult to replicate to a certain degree is that we have the bar is a member that opens specifically for the club, which not all clubs are able to do. But that's exactly what I tell people. Make a meeting that's a happy hour that you can drink beer at, and you'll probably see your membership grow. Yes.
Then another, are we the only ones that have 2 meetings a week?
We're not, no. I don't know how many do that, but that's essentially, that's where the growth started to skyrocket. We added a meeting, you could drink at that meeting. Pretty good formula for some success, I think that's right. Yes, Glenn?
The other thing about that meeting is it's at night versus during the day, and there's a lot of people that can't come to a lunch meeting. So that helped as well, because there are people that come to Monday night who don't drink beer, which is perfectly fine.
Sure.
But that helps. I mean, school teachers couldn't go to a Friday, most of them, you're not gonna get out of school and that helped that scenario with it, as well as a lot of other people.
Right.
That's why I joined.
Right.
That's exactly what happened to me.
Yes. Yes.
There should be a way of identifying what turned this club into the aggressive, energetic club that it is. And that, I think, that happened before we had the Monday night class, club.
Yeah.
And I would think that some of the old timers, like myself, should be able to recite, what it took to get that turn for this club.
Right.
Wherever I go, I tell them this is the most energetic Rotary club that I attend.
Right. How many do you attend?
A number.
Okay, well, at least it's more than one. So I do think that to a certain extent, one thing I would say to that is that we do, Jeff Marsico for the membership committee sends out surveys to find out like what we're doing right and what people would like to do. And maybe everybody here participates. We didn't have 100% participation the last time we sent those surveys out, But if you do see them in your email, answer them, because that's the sort of thing that we use to guide what we're doing and what we're going to do. So, but yeah, I appreciate that.
I would also say, before we added the Monday evening meeting, we were still growing. I'm looking at Tom over there, because Tom also keeps track of the, not the attendance of the roster, is that we were still growing. It was very, very, very slow with just the Friday meeting, but it did.
Skyrocketed it
Exactly,
with the
you know,
Monday.
16 members a year, 11 members another year, 9 members the following year.
Right.
So it was, you know, if you only have a meeting at lunchtime and somebody can't attend, you know, they don't join. But allowing that, and I think also increasing our number of service projects, that we're getting out and we're doing things together. We enjoy each other's company, well, for the most part. And I think that's where I think it's fun.
Right. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
And I think, well, since I joined in 2001, I've experienced this club as a very vital club. I mean, you know, Katrina and Ecuador, and some of us have been on service projects. And we've done service projects, and, you know, we purchased those, what do you call those tents that we send around?
Shelter boxes.
We've done, I mean, just a lot of stuff. And I think and there've been changing circumstances, because, you know, we've grown older. Some of us can't do what we used to do, but we've done 2 very good things, well, 3 things. The Monday night, other club meeting place is excellent, but we also got rid of you gotta pay for food you don't eat.
Correct, yeah.
I mean, we don't do that. And another thing is, Rotary International established, you're qualified to be a Rotarian if you have a heart for service. It doesn't matter your job, it's a heart for service, and that opens up a lot of possibilities. Oh, and a good reputation in the community, that's important.
That always helps. Jeff, did you have something?
Well, kind of along, I was thinking too with the attendance, and I can't remember, it's been 4 or 5 years, maybe longer than that, since they changed that. I used to be one guilty of getting that little letter in the mail of where my attendance was, so I think that also helped to retain too, because,
Sure.
you know, when you get that letter, it's like, hey, you know, I'm not making it much, I might as well just drop out too, so. Now, I guess my question was that just our club, or is that Rotary wide?
The pet seminar? The pets?
The attendance.
The attendance,
Oh.
the attendance requirement, yeah.
So, the attendance requirement. So, I think it's pretty common now not to have an attendance requirement. I didn't do a survey, but that was my impression.
It was removed at International.
Right. I don't think a lot of clubs are requiring attendance.
Okay.
But I don't know.
The trick to that is you hang around long enough, they'll let you see you're active.
Doesn't matter
Right.
anymore.
Yeah, I know, but that was the old trick, you know, if you hung around long enough.
So I left pets. The main takeaway for me was that we're doing really well, but what can we do to keep making it better? So I think the focuses are sustaining and growing our membership. And then mostly, I think a lot of why people joined the club, and I think it's one of the reasons I joined, and I think the surveys, or what we hear from our members supports this, is our service projects. We do a lot. And so I want to make sure that we are continuing with that. And so we need to just make sure that we're implementing good projects that actually support the community. Obviously supporting, you know, the Rotary Foundation, our money does go to do good things, both, well, the foundation would be the international, but also that money in some ways supports our community as well. And then, you know, keep developing the club leaders. We were having a conversation about, you know, we have a path for 5 years basically, and so we're always continuing to develop people that want to come in and, you know, to continue to serve the Rotary, so we want to keep doing that. So, my goals, number 1, that one's important. I'll get there. Okay? And we'll get there.
Are you done yet?
What's that?
Are you done yet?
No. But, I do know, and this is actually a goal set by the district governor. We want to have net growth. I mean, that's a very easy goal. It's a goal we probably have every year, but that's going to be a goal too. We want to keep the growth positive and increase it. But I also think that it's important that we increase commitment, because one of the things that I talk to when I talk to people, we do have a lot of members. We are at 137, is that right? 138?
138 now.
138. But of those members, how many regularly go to the meetings? How many go to the service projects? And obviously, pay their dues. Now, all of those are good. You don't have to go to all the meetings, but we do want you to go to the meetings. You don't have to go to all the service projects, but we want you to go to as many as possible. And, well, we do want you to pay your dues. So that one's not really negotiable. But how do we, of those 137 members, how do we make sure that as high a percentage of them are committing to the meetings or the service projects or to fundraising, which again goes to the community? How do we increase that commitment? And so one of the things I have been sort of mulling around, and it's a very beginning stage, but having a meeting, not really an alternate meeting, but just a monthly meeting where the only purpose is to bring ideas for service projects, maybe have it at a breakfast so that people that can't make lunch and can't make happy hour, hopefully they can make a breakfast. And we discuss service projects and we implement them for the club. Something more concrete. Deb does a great job of bringing lots of service projects, but can we do something where it's not people other than Deb? Other people should be engaged in bringing the service projects to the club. So, any thoughts on that? That's been something I've been mulling around and talking to people about. Things in progress. I guess a lot of this is probably, you're getting a preview of the installation. Did everybody get a save the date for the installation, by the way? Bill, you're nodding your head, but I don't think you got one.
I got one in my book.
Okay.
It's on my calendar.
He did. So we do have a district grant in process. We're going to help Cornerstone redo their entryway. Cornerstone, I think, is a good organization for teenagers and young kids to go after school and hang out and have a place to go. We're going to help them with that. Again, the monthly breakfast meeting is just something that I'm mulling around. And also, not my year, but in the future, we're going to have announcements about the centennial and all that sort of thing. Hopefully some exciting things are coming your way. Glenn bought a truck, so I'm going to take credit for that. Do you have title?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, never mind, that's his then. All right, installation, June 27th, 5 p.m. We're going to bring back the Gathering Place. This will be the last time any of you ever eat Gathering Place food, so I don't know that, I'm just joking, making you want to go. There's going to be ham loaf, that's the only thing I can remember picking, because that was my favorite. The ham loaf, are you kidding me? That ham loaf was good. Yeah, that was good, ham loaf. You just not like ham loaf, or you don't like their ham loaf? Oh, okay, well that's...
Wow.
And you call yourself Mike?
All right, that's it. Thank you. Oh, questions, okay.
Well, a comment.
Comment.
Prospective members, I think there is a policy for financial benefit for new members for a year or so. They get to go at a cheap rate or a free rate to district things. And I mean, there's a whole formula for new members to benefit. They don't have to, they get some benefits. So somebody knows what that is. Another
Someone,
thing,
somewhere.
so
Yeah.
I just wanted to let you know that.
Pay to go to the installation.
Oh, free installation ticket, that's a $50 value right there.
And any of that district training that they go to, we pay for.
Well, but we pay for that for everybody,
Correct,
too.
but we pay for it.
Right, right.
They
So
pay
going
for it,
to-
we reimburse them.
That's
To RLI and district conference, so forth.
Well, another thing I wanted to mention is the speakers on Friday, I think they're outstanding. I learn a lot.
Sean has done a really good job this year of getting speakers.
Well, and you did a good job. I think most people do a good job of getting speakers for us, and I look forward to that. In fact, I feel bad for sometimes that we have great speakers and a lot of empty seats. And I just,
We did okay today, I think. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I'm interested in the kids that are here, I'm sorry, I call you kids, not children. I think you have a great role in this club, although you're not members, you're still in high school. I wonder what your appreciation is of your experience in coming to this 4 weeks and presenting yourself here. Any impressions that you care to throw out to us?
But this is their first day here.
Yeah.
They only come twice a month.
We'll save that for their speech. Remember that question. Remember that question and then answer it in 2 weeks, or next week, whatever.
Can I answer your question?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So,
The big kid.
yeah, I was in their seat back in 1997, and lived in the community, and I think just, though I'm not a member, part because I'm at school and can't come to meetings, could now, but my impression as a community member and from their seat and moving on up is the things that you said about the role of Rotary in the community do stand. Like the heart of service, our community is a community where people care about other people and are selfless in their caring of and what they want to do in their time and their talents and their money. And Rotary, I think, has always been kind of my impression as a community member is Rotary has filled that role. So I think that's contributes a lot to the success that you guys were talking about earlier.
Great, thanks. Glenn?
So, the other thing that when I was in Pets and listened to all the other presidents, we do a lot of things that other clubs just don't do. They're not as fixated in the community. We have events every year that we've been doing for decades or longer that other clubs just don't do. They do a lot of service projects, but they don't have Taste of Western Lancaster County. They don't have a Christmas tree sale. They don't have, those kind of things that, like, we're a staple. And then when the Chamber of Commerce gets all the nonprofits together, we're on that table. We're in that room because we make a lot of things happen, So we're not just this little club that sits on the sideline. We're front and center in this town, but a lot of clubs aren't. And why, I don't know. Maybe it's because we've been here for almost 100 years, and we've grown and we're doing very well. Other clubs that aren't, they just don't do some of the stuff that we do. There's some places that they've had the same president for 10 years, 12 years.
Well, I did have conversations, and some people, they basically have to beg, each year they need to rustle up a new president. They certainly don't have a 5-year succession plan, and then have to sometimes just serve multiple years in a row because they don't have the members
Have we
stepping
ever
up.
had a president 2 years in a row?
No,
Have we ever had a repeat period?
I don't know. I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
No.
I mean, I bet you that's one of a kind. I mean, I bet you there's not another Rotary club in the country that has that kind of record.
Well, maybe part of the plan.
Yep.
Hey, Jeff, we've been talking kind of around this, but I think what we can't lose sight of is we live in a very unique community. And that's probably why this club does so well. There's a reason why I like to call this the Great Northwest. I don't think there's another part of the county that's like the northwest corner of the county. The 3 municipalities work together really well. Everybody pulls together across all kinds of boundaries. So I think we live in a very unique community. I lived in Lidditz for a long time. I grew up in the southern end of the county. There's nothing around like E-Town. This is a great region, and I think that's part of it.
Everybody clap their backs. Pat themselves on the back. That's the word I was looking for. Gosh darn it. All right, Deb.
I think one of the things what you put into something. And if
Sure.
you're not putting anything into Rotary, doing the service projects, you are definitely not getting as much out of it as you could. Because do I do all the service projects? Yes, I love doing them, but I get more back than what I've ever put in.
Okay, well, looks like we're gonna be,
Claire.
Claire, all right. Yes,
I think one of the big things in this club is, I've been here since '59 with perfect attendance.
that is true. All right.
Jay Card has me by 6 months, but at one time I had perfect attendance. But over the years, the leadership is so important. I've seen it, well, my year we built pavilions that got torn down, the bench, which is perfectly all right. The library was done by her. Bought the building across from the Legion, that was a church. I've noticed the leadership is so important. I've seen it dip. I've seen presidents that didn't show up. And I happen to be a vice president when that happened. It's so important for the leadership to take a hold and go. And I've seen this club revive itself many times. This is a great revival that we're going through right now. Thanks to our leadership.
Thank you, Glenn. And if anybody wants to do a recount for Glenn's second term, I mean, I don't know, that might be all right.
He has to get indicted for this.
That's right. Yeah, thank you, Jeff. I think the other good thing is that you know when you sign up 5 years ahead, that you're gonna make a commitment to learn and get in the job, and you're done in 1 year. If somebody told me I was gonna be president for 10 years, I would have never done it, you know? So I think it's important, and we have enough people that it makes it work. We're very lucky. So Dennis, pretty soon, we're gonna be talking about the whole 100th year. And we've been working behind the scenes, really trying to make this fantastic for not just us, but for the community. And quite frankly, other parts of the world. So, you know, that's gonna be one of our shining moments again. I mean, when we were, you know, what was it, 10 years ago when we did the school, when they did all the funding for the school? I mean, how much did we give for that? It was like 50,000 or something. 75,000. I mean, you know, and Tom, he looked at the financial stuff that we just finished, the 990s, and I don't remember the exact number, but we have assets somewhere in the neighborhood of $250,000, something like that.
About 260,000.
Okay, wow. Even the big clubs, York, Lancaster, they don't have that. So we've done very well over the years, and we should be very proud of it. So, anything else?
I would say one of the things, like people say, well, how do you know them? Like, they're in Rotary with me. They're not just fellow Rotarians, they're friends. You know, my eye doctor, my attorney, my doctor, you know, so many insurance agent, you know, is all through Rotary. But they're not just, you don't just see them on Fridays. You see them at service projects, or you see them out for dinner or whatever. And I think that's key.
Sure.
Great friendships.
Yeah, when you meet other Rotarians, when you go to these other events, you go to Houston, you meet people you never knew before, you meet people from other countries, but it's weird. We're all the same people. It's very strange. You got to experience that, you know. It's pretty neat. All right, have a great week, everybody.
Thank you.